It's back in 1967, and Joe Clark, a teacher of Eastside High School in Patterson, leads his students in a class quiz. A teacher named Frank walks in and seeks Mr. Clark's attention.
Shirley, kids, take your seats, quickly.
He's disturbed that a teachers' union meeting is being held without their prior notice. Mr. Clark is furious about this and finds it hard to keep his voice down. They walk to the meeting and try to plead that they all stick together to find a way out. But the teachers present have made a decision to transfer Mr. Clark, and in return, the Board of Education has offered the school a salary increment. Mr. Clark is totally displeased and distraught, and he walks out immediately. It's been 20 years now, and Eastside High has become a den of violence, crime, and drugs, and is now concentrated with students of low academic standards. Teachers are harassed, and weaker students are bullied by the hoodlums that dominate. Eastside High must pass the minimum skills requirement test of 75%, but they've only managed to score 38% so far. The mayor is worried about how the high school's performance will affect his re-election.
What in God's name are they doing down there at Eastside?
They were your appointees, Don.
Frank is now the superintendent of schools, and he suggests that they employ Joe Clark to fix the situation on ground. The mayor objects to this, but after thorough reasoning, he agrees to the request. Mr. Clark is the principal of an elementary school and is approached by the job offer of being Eastside High's. Mr. Clark is disgusted and infuriated at the offer. He believes they only want him for the job because they have something to gain. Frank points out that their lives have never really amounted to anything in all of their years of work, and this is a chance to make a great impact on the lives of others. Mr. Clark walks in the halls of the school and is shocked by how it's been wrecked since he left.
Welcome, Mr. Clark, to Eastside. We've heard so much about you.
He goes to the teacher's boardroom and they try to make him feel welcome and instruct him on how to run the school. Mr. Clark shuts them off immediately. He wants them only right while he speaks, with no objection. He wants a report on the names of every hoodlum and drug dealer who is registered as a student in the school. He immediately begins appointing selected teachers to new roles in the school. He wants a total transformation of the school's appearance. As instructed, the leading hoodlums are assembled on the school's hall stage. With every student listed there, Mr. Clark walks to the stage, trying to make a speech, but he isn't given room due to the noise and disorder from the students in the hall.
Settle down, boys and girls, settle down.
He introduces himself as the new principal, but what follows is just more noise and mockery from the students, especially those on stage. He asks a teacher to play the piano to attract their attention. There is a bit of order now. Mr. Clark's first major step in transforming Eastside High is to establish a strict disciplinary system. He expels several hoodlums and drug dealers and sets a tone of zero tolerance for misconduct. After expelling well over 300 students, he orders the chief of security to lead them all out of the school premises. Using this as a platform,
Next time, it may be you.
he informs other students of the new transformation that must begin henceforth, and that anyone who thinks or acts otherwise would be expelled as well. This action sets off resistance from the local school board, which includes the parents of some expelled students. They think he isn't fair with his judgment and urge him to reverse the new law. He tries to convince them of the outcome and impact of the other students if he doesn't stick with that decision. He seeks to create a learning environment where every student has the privilege and opportunity to achieve academic excellence. As he arrives back at the school, a student named Thomas Sams is seen waiting outside. Mr. Clark finds out he is one of the students he expelled the previous day. Sam wants another chance and promises to act right this time. Mr. Clark doesn't believe him, seeing that he has skipped classes, smoked, and has been involved in many acts of misconduct. Mr. Clark tells him of the impact of smoking and how it is just as good as jumping off a cliff. Sam still wants a second chance. Mr. Clark agrees on the condition that he must never go back on his word lest he gets expelled again. Mr. Clark walks around the school cafeteria and begins mingling with some of the students. He finds Sam misbehaving again, and as a way to punish him, he orders him along with his friends to recite the school anthem. They can't, so he gives them 3 days to learn the school anthem. Otherwise, they'll be indefinitely suspended. Mr. Clark's radical changes face resistance from students and teachers. The teachers have a hard time coping with his manner of discipline
Job.
What concert, Mrs. Elliott?
The one at Lincoln Center. We do it every year.
and view his methods as harsh and unconventional. Mr. Clark, despite their views, stands his ground. He goes ahead and fires the head music teacher and suspends Mr. Darnell as they fail to conform to his rules and dictations. He is determined to maintain order and provide a safe learning environment for the students. Despite the threats and criticism, he remains steadfast in his vision and mission. The first minimum basic skills test of the year comes, and the students have a hard time concentrating during the exams. After the exams, there is a fight in the hall. An expelled student beats up another student at the school. Mr. Clark manages to get a hold of him and orders the chief of security to ensure that every door leading to the school is chained and locked.
I don't have no place to live.
Well, where's your mother?
A student named Kanisha is having trouble maintaining her grades. She went to the elementary school he used to run, so he promises to help her in whatever way he can. He goes to see Kanisha's mother with his vice principal. Her mother is still undergoing rehab treatment and is also struggling to make ends meet. Mr. Clark encourages her and she promises to find a new job as well as a place for them to stay. From there, Mr. Clark goes to see Frank at the court. Frank is dissatisfied with the new way he handles things at the school. He got a report on the chaining of all school doors. He says the chief of the fire department wants to file a lawsuit against him. A certain Mrs. Barrett, who is a parent of an expelled student, is also organizing a parents' group in opposition to Mr. Clark. While arguing back and forth, Frank, being the superintendent, orders Mr. Clark to reinstate every fired and suspended teacher and write a formal letter of apology to them and the women of the community for his unthoughtful behavior. Mr. Clark finds Sam and his friends in the bathroom and asks them to recite the school anthem. They sing the anthem while harmonizing and changing tunes. He orders them to stop immediately and goes on to look for the teacher who changed the anthem. Mrs. Powers, the teacher in charge of the students' choir, is approached and questioned heavily by Mr. Clark.
I thought the song was a bit boring.
Boring, huh?
She's expecting a disciplinary act next, but Mr. Clark surprises her by praising her efforts and asking her to translate the new school anthem into Spanish. As Mr. Clark strives to rehabilitate the school, he also focuses on individual students facing personal challenges. He thinks Thomas Sams is smart, even though he gets into a lot of trouble. Heading to his office, the test score is presented. Mr. Clark is disappointed in the performance of the students. He calls for a general teachers' meeting. He scolds the teachers for the performance of each student. He wants them to take responsibility and have an extra tutor lesson for each student. He also encourages the teachers to have higher expectations of their students and challenges them to help the students reach their full potential. Slowly, the atmosphere at Eastside High is beginning to shift. The students are starting to take pride in their school. It's 98 days until the next basic minimum test, and each teacher makes a conscious effort to prepare the students academically, emotionally, and socially. The students respond in a great way. Mrs. Barrett thinks otherwise and has a meeting with the mayor. The mayor agrees to give permission for a board meeting to fire and dismiss Mr. Clark, so Mrs. Barrett will use her community influence and get him re-elected. The mayor and the chief of the fire department make plans to disrupt Mr. Clark's effort. They set him up using the chains on the school doors. The plan is to pay the school a surprise visit and arrest Mr. Clark for defiling the law. Mr. Rosenberg overhears this in one of the bathrooms and reports it straight to Mr. Clark. He then makes plans with the teachers to stop or avoid the fire chief whenever he arrives at the school premises. The guards are to alert the teachers, who in turn must quickly unlock each door before they get into the building. Miss Levias, the school's vice principal, confronts Mr. Clark on his manner of approach towards each teacher. She commends his effort in creating enthusiasm and excellence in the school, but is dissatisfied with his high expectations and lack of appreciation for their efforts. Mr. Clark is egoistic and doesn't take account of how he addresses the staff. He insults them and speaks rudely if he must, just to get his point across. Miss Levias boldly tells him how the teachers have the same goal and purpose of improving the school. and he shouldn't make everything revolve around his own opinions.
You will listen! You will stand there and you will listen!
It's 1 hour to the basic minimum skills test, and Mr. Clark delivers a heartfelt speech to all the students. He shares his struggles and reminds the students that they have the power to overcome any adversity and also make positive impacts on their lives and the world. Mr. Clark's words resonate deeply with the students, and they applaud him with gratitude and great admiration. Each student at Eastside High must now help each other face this crucial final test. If the scores improve, the school board will give Mr. Clark the support he needs to continue his reforms.
You are not inferior.
The students feel the weight of this responsibility and begin putting in their best effort. Mr. Clark walks into the hall and finds Kanisha in a distraught mood. He finds out that she is pregnant by a guy who is not willing to take responsibility. Although he is unhappy about her past decision, he calms her down and tells her he will walk through it with her. Kanisha is afraid to inform her mother about the pregnancy, but Mr. Clark advises her to do so, as that is the only way she can move forward. The chief of the fire department and Mrs. Barrett finally catch the school off guard. The guards are unable to alert the teachers on time, and Mr. Clark is arrested with evidence of the chains on the school doors. The students are distraught as the cops take their principal away. He is locked up immediately. Mrs. Barrett holds a local board meeting with the parents. She encourages them to dismiss Mr. Clark due to his previous failed attempts to reform the students so they can save their faces at the state's level. They must act quickly before the new test scores come in, or they have no grounds to fire him. Not all members of the board agree with this, and there is a great argument. Just then, Mr. Clark sees through his cell window a vast number of Eastside High students on their way to make a protest for his release. The mayor is informed. He pleads with Mr. Clark to inform them to leave immediately to avoid any use of force by the police if a riot breaks out. Outside, Mrs. Barrett tries to convince the students to turn back. The students do not listen or give her a chance to speak. They want the release of Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark finally agrees to speak to them. He insists that they leave and go home. They do not agree. Just then, Miss Levias comes in with the test results of the minimum basic tests. She insists that Mr. Clark reads it. When he does, he finds out that the students of Eastside High School passed the minimum requirements for the test. Mr. Clark is allowed to stay on as principal, and the teachers and staff celebrate.